socials, I talk about it on broadcast. You know, I want to see these things. Don't ban them out. Don't get rid of the new maps. Get in and play them. Let's see what they can really be. And the pro team's leading by example, doing exactly that for us today. Second skyscraper coming up. Reject versus DWG KIA. And I am looking forward to it. Now, if we look at the last game and we look at this one, what are we going to have to see? We need to see a little bit of something from the attackers. That was where they struggled last time around. It was a 4-2 half in favour of the defenders to begin with, and then a 5-1 half in the second half for Fnatic. So we need to see those attackers coming out against some rounds. I don't want to see, like, Sandbox were struggling a little bit because they were bringing the Ossa and they were just sort of sitting behind that shield. They didn't bring anything to power them past it, to aggress. Yeah, they had the information, but they couldn't do anything with it. So we need to see an attacking team here from DWG KIA that come in, take that onus, take that initiative, get themselves moving in the map.
They lacked clear, which is ironic because in our game of the day that we cast earlier on between Fav and Cag, we saw not a lot of clear stopping utility, not enough ADSs, magnets, but tons of nades on the other side. So it's been a tale of two halves is the best way I can describe it. But let's see what these two teams have got to throw down for us here today. Again, this is a real David versus Goliath situation where DWG KIA are coming in as the team that everyone's looking at and saying these guys are finishing number one in the stage, no questions asked. Reject, a team that, ironically to their name, are kind of in a spot where many are saying Sengoku should be here. You guys shouldn't be the ones in place, but they did manage to pull one over against Sengoku in that final day and find themselves here, and now they've got to prove that they really do belong. And in case you aren't familiar with any of these players, No Time, a player that has been around for, again ironically, lots of time. The other four players a little bit newer. Candy is the newest member, coming in early in February, so this roster is still kind of taking shape, and I think you'll see maybe potentially further changes throughout the year if things don't quite go to plan. So don't take what you see on day one or even day two or even all of stage one as law as to how Reject will deliver throughout the year.
As you say, a little bit of a baptism by fire, really, for them. There's coming in against who is undoubtedly...
That's when you go down to the local boxing club and they go, hey, I was going to fight against Amir Khan or something.
Yeah,
we're going to fight AJ. Tyson Fury will wait for you if you want.
We've got a former world champion here for you. If you just want to have a little sparring session...
Go a few rounds.
Yeah, not a problem. You know, you're coming in against the big boys. That much is a fact. We'll see how they handle it. The thing that I'd like to see from Reject is... don't give too much respect. Come in and play your own game. Look for those kills. Take the peaks. Have a little bit of aggression about you. Don't be scared of DWG KIA.
I mean, they were thinking it just then as well, right up against the side entrance doorway, hoping to find someone on an early peak, but unfortunately, at least for the side of Reject, they were still over the other side of the banister, still on the rappel, nothing to be found. It started out then without any early spawn peaks, so DWG KIA are going to be grateful they've got to the building without worrying about people throwing themselves out of windows at them. That has still got plenty of time, of course, to happen inside the round. That also being on side, you spoke about it yourself in the last map, we saw it a little bit coming out of the side of Sandbox. DWG KIA going for a similar tactic, clearly a Korean strategy coming out.
I don't know if we've just had another one of those great British language moments, Des.
What's that?
Will people know what a banister is?
A banister?
A handrail?
What would they call it elsewhere?
A handrail, I'd imagine.
No, the top of your stairs though, you don't call that a handrail. The handrail
No,
gets
I
you
know,
up the
but
stairs.
I don't know if it's called a banister internationally or not.
Is it... Milosh?
Or whether
banister?
that's just a British thing.
Do you know what a banister is? If I said to you there's a banister in the house?
Milosh is looking confused.
No, that's a windowsill.
Okay, right,
Okay.
so it's a handrail that runs along your
banister.
stairs.
That's the banister he's going over right now below him. That's the banister.
There you go. Back to the game. We're halfway through the round. We've got Reject DWG KIA 5v5 still at the moment. Nobody having lost a life. Reject are defending Karaoke and Tea Room. And right now, DWG KIA are underneath. They're in the restaurant. They're in the bar. They're looking to try and get a little bit of verticality going from underneath here before they push up those black stairs.
Here they go, on their way forward. So they get control. This is a great position to be in because they've got the Oster on the other side. So north side push seems to be where all arms are bared. You've got Yas playing on the downstairs too. And elsewhere, it's Coasted being dropped off already. Not super ideal as your hard breacher as well. Maybe looking to get him inside of Mez to open up the wall in towards Tea Room. But Woogieman's got himself in a pretty key position here. Immediately smoked out, and Yas, through all that chaos, still finds a kill back onto the other side. Smoke going down with 2 canisters still left in back pocket.
Not ideal for Reject there. 4 versus 4. DWG KIA just establishing themselves in the round. But will it be too little too late as we come down to the final 35 seconds? Not really got sight control yet. Certainly not not in a position to think about getting the diffuser down. They need to start getting a couple more kills. They've taken damage on Yas, on Woogieman. They can't get too aggressive. Rin manages to get the kill onto Salty, but it's traded back out with one onto Yas, 3v3. Reject not falling foul of the attrition game here.
But they are falling foul of time, Bob. Not really so DWG KIA, the one falling foul of the timer here as well. Last 10 seconds, in behind the shield, going for a plant. Have they got anything to deny it away? They've got a C4 in the back pocket. Atake still. If he gets this one out, it could save them, but not in a position to do so. 3 kills coming through from DWG KIA in those dying seconds, and round 1 going the way of the Korean team.
And that just goes to show the power that the Otter can have in the right circumstances. I don't think, that it's necessarily unilaterally powerful across the board in all circumstances, but in that way you can get in. And the big thing there is being allowed to anchor that shield. Once that goes down, very, very difficult to do anything about. And Reject just didn't have the answer to that. I think we've got a little, I think it's a tech reuse. I don't think it's, or is it? No,
because the timeout timer's going down.
Wow.
It is tactical.
I
have never seen a round 2 timeout.
I said, don't come in and be scared of DWG KIA here. And I'm sorry, Reject, I can't help but feel like that might be the case.
Someone's given them instructions to go and do something. They've gone, yeah, we got it, we'll go and do it. They turn around and gone, what are we meant to do again? Got a little few things here to talk about, no doubt, after that first round. Just either being completely blindsided by DWG KIA or want to try and get a few things in-house, in line, internally. We'll see when we get into round 2. That was karaoke that we played into that last site. Next one, we're going down into kitchen and barbecue. Yes.
That bodes very well for DWG KIA. As I said coming into it, in the first time that we saw this map competitively in our previous matchup, Fnatic versus... The name that I've just had a complete blank. There's Fnatic versus Sandbox. It was difficult for either attacking team to get anything going.
Showing your age there, Tim.
Round 1 of the attack here, DWG KIA straight away put a round on the board. Simple as that. If you're going to play new maps, and I would say this across the board, if you're going to play new maps as a competitive team, yes, the focus is always around what are our setups going to be. But I would say, a little tip, get in there and make sure your attacks are polished, because that's where you're going to win. I remember when we had the Oregon rework, particularly, again, it was difficult for the attackers to get anything going. And it's always the case with these new maps. If you want to be the team to break new ground, to go in there and take the new maps, then be that team, but just make sure that you can attack them. And off the first round, it looks like DWG KIA may well just be in that position.
Destruction is definitely way up. Like,
it's
even just
definitely
seeing
bigger.
that.
Yeah, it's definitely
even just
easier.
Seeing that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely easier.
So, talking about this setup, they've got a full setup going on the top floor here. They had 2 or 3 members immediately charge upstairs and look to get themselves set up inside a karaoke and tea room for this defense of barbecue. They only have 1 or 2 left on site, a couple of reinforcements actually being given downstairs itself, but the majority, by the looks of it, have gone towards the upstairs on this hole. So for DWG KIA, the focus is going to be breaking open this top floor room. And perhaps an identification of that, they've got the DKB on side here coming in from Woogie. So if anyone's out lurking towards Office, if anyone's out in towards Dragon or towards Terrace, they'll find them. Then the rest of the team can focus on getting the crushing upstairs inside of karaoke and then looking towards the downstairs execute. It does, however, give them a lot of things to think about in the round, Tim.
It's interesting to see that some of the attacks, some of the defences not really changing from old Skyscraper way back when. There's probably plenty of viewers who won't have ever even played the old version of Skyscraper, let alone seen it playing competitively. But Kitchen Barbecue, it was always a case of get yourself in, get control of Geisha Room, get control of Drum, get control of Karaoke, start opening up the verticals and look to put some pressure down on into site before you drop in and try to get a plant, particularly getting control of the hatch that is inside of Geisha. And it's pretty much the same here. We've seen that vertical extension, but we've also seen that immediate loss of Salty there. That is another opener for DWG KIA.
Well, that was all coming in around Terrace too. The window, I think Salty just spraying the wrong way. He was hoping someone would still be on the rappel out towards Geisha, but someone was a little bit close to home and lost his life all too easy. You can see these massive holes that have been opened up as well. Not just punch holes anymore. It's more about spraying through with your gun, which gives Rin all the heads up that they possibly could need to know know that someone was lurking on the other side. As mentioned, now you are seeing that push coming in towards this Karaoke and T area. Take is holding here on towards the angle up towards Shrine. There is a man there, but I think he's just missed him by a narrow pixel. Otherwise, maybe a bit of a better idea that Rin here is looking to challenge pretty much immediately inside of T. We're down to the last 60 seconds, though, so you've really got to see DWG KIA step it up a bit, Tim.
Yeah, they stalled out a little bit. They got in there, got the entry frag, and then they've just not really made any progress. Let's remember, Des, they're attacking onto the ground floor. They're not attacking onto the top floor, but we can see in the distance, Courted is just moving his way towards site there, heading in towards kitchen. Whether there's going to be an opportunity for him to put a diffuser down may depend on the level of control that they can get up above them, but he's managed to sneak in here, Des. He might just get away with this as the cover's in place. Katsang is exactly that. Courted's going to start putting that diffuser down. Now comes the challenge, and there's the cover. Katsang getting himself a second. Take goes down, and all of a sudden, DWG KIA turn it around without having that top floor control. Great play from them to just sneak on into site and get that diffuser down.
Probably a weakness being shown there in the setup coming out of Reject. Just completely missing pantry, missing out on laundry, and the small march forward, plant it down, little bit of cover to help you in the one man that comes for the challenge. It's all too easy for DWG KIA. I do like that vertical setup because even DWG KIA looks stuck in trying to break it open, really. They had Woogieman pushing in from Geisha side, you had one coming in from Shrine, it was Rin. They couldn't quite crack the 2 or 3 members that were up there, but this is the problem. If you don't have a super lockdown setup on the site itself that is ready for these massive changes that can completely flip around on its head, you can get stung by them, and DWG KIA have identified that perfectly in round 2.
Heading back to Karaoke and Tea Room, Reject will give it another go. We saw them defend it back in round 1. It came down to Woogieman getting in through Karaoke window, slapping down that Ursa shield and getting a successful plant off behind it whilst the cover was in place above him. See if the tactic is the same here from DWG KIA, whether they switch things up a little bit and maybe try and take a little bit more dragon-sided control this time, working from the opposite side.
I was commenting on this. I think it was Hap actually when he came through after the last map, and we were just talking briefly a moment ago, or maybe it was Medics, I forget. But I was my age is showing as well. I was talking to them and saying there's so much soft walling around Karaoke and T in general that it can be a bit of a nightmare to defend. And I think you're seeing that for a few different Tartakis going for it again here on the jump out, looking for the man, but can't quite hit the shot.
He committed to it, didn't he?
He did commit, I'll give him that. He got a good chunk of damage down onto Yas, but almost loses his life in the process. And without a Thunderbird on side, well, no safekeeping for him, no way to get that HP back on side. Coated, going to find Tadaniki as well, who I believe was also looking to get a bit cheeky. An instant pistol headshot coming through. So, Reject are trying to play that, I always want to say, characteristically aggressive Japanese playstyle that we've been used to seeing over the last couple of years in APAC North and in the Japanese League. But DWG KIA, they've got the experience now, Tim. They can deal with that aggressive play style.
They certainly can. It's something that they bring sometimes. You know, you've got to be prepared for that. And it's, like you say, something DWG KIA are aware of. Take going to be taken down with an explosive. Down but not out for the time being, but that won't last so long as we see Rin just take the little look around the windowsill and takes the man down. That's Take gone. And we're in now to 5 versus 3. We've got DWG KIA having cleared out that dragon side, as I suggested, but rather than push directly in from that side, they're still going to work through that black stairs door.
They've got a double claymore down on that window at the top of Shrine as well, just to be doubly sure that anyone who jumps out that window is dead is a reasonable way of looking at it. With that Osa now looking to challenge into the same spot as round 1, though, surely Reject get the heads up. This is going to look very similar to what we saw in prior rounds. A big north side focus from DWG KIA, and as we always say, Tim, why fix what ain't broken?
That's it. If you know that you can rinse and repeat, you can do the same thing, get the same outcome, you're going to give it a whirl. 3 versus 5. It's going to be difficult for Reject to hold them out of Karaoke if that's where Woogieman chooses to push in. DWG KIA are certainly in no rush, though. They're taking the time here. They're trying to locate those final defenders, and as you can see, that little bit of pressure on the Dragon side early in the round, it's working wonders, Des, because it's preventing Reject from completely facing up towards the Karaoke side, so it's splitting their forces, and when there's only 3 of them, that can be a difficult split to manage.
Here comes Woogie. Same spot once again. Get immediately swung on, but there's no cover. Candy does take a little bit of damage on the way back out, but the real damage has been done, Tim. The Osa is gone. The tool they've been using to get this diffuser down is off the board.
Perfect time to step out there from Candy on the mute and get that kill, as you say. Essential utility maybe going along with it. 30 seconds left to go, and DWG KIA need to start using the manpower here. They need to push multiple at once. They can't go into 1v1 fights because Reject have got the advantage of holding the angles, and just feels like DWG KIA are scrambling a little bit here. They're not too sure exactly where they're heading or what the next step is without that shield to work in behind. No time. He might have no life at this point as damage is done. It's ultimately Candy taken down. Salty finds one, but the plant is going to be completed. Coated managing to get that diffuser down on the ground, but a little bit of a flank from underneath. It's unfortunate for No Time that he wasn't able to prevent that diffuser going down. Des, the angle was there, but Coated, he finds his man at the top of Black Stairs, and that now leaves Salty in a 1 versus 2. He's looking, he's trying to find anything that he can. He just needs a sniff of somebody, but it's the upside down repel of Katsang. Closes out the man, and DWG KIA, they go 3-0.
That classic window, Tim, it gives you so much control, not just over Karaoke, but in towards the geisha door, for example, so anyone left in there is pinned in. Gives you control over main stairs, cuts any retreat coming out from drum as well, and also potentially, if you get the soft wall opened up, gives you control of the south door of T. It's such a powerful position, and you saw it there towards the end, making sure no one could challenge up from the south side. Salty left alone there in a 1 versus 2. But DWG KIA, they're really weird. We said at 30 seconds, they're out of time here, Tim. Everything's running away from them, and they still managed to find just every little nook and cranny they can get coated into to get that diffuser down now. 3 rounds, 3 plants, 3 wins for
That's
DWG
what
KIA.
great teams do.
It is.
That's what great teams do, and that's what great planters do. Coated right
do
now.
they, Tim?
They do, absolutely does. Coated right now is, I won't even tell you how many plants I've had so far in the current season.
How many, Tim?
We're only 1 day in. I lost count. Coated, he's like water at the minute, Des. He'll get into any crack that is placed in front of him. Anything at all. Absolutely any opportunity, and he is whoop, 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 straight in there, getting that diffuser down.
He's like what, Tim?
You heard it. Not messing about whatsoever. And I love to see it, because DWG KIA are winning the rounds based on those plants, on those diffuser plays, on that objective play. And it just reminds us that it's a first-person shooter, but there's more than one way to get that win, and DWG KIA proving that at the minute. Reject, they must be reeling at the minute, because there's just nothing they can do right now. This is all in the hands of DWG KIA.
And on DWG KIA's side, they've changed up to what we've seen a lot today, which is barely bringing any frag grenades across these rounds. We've only seen 2 in back pocket of the Iana. We've seen no Sledge, we've seen no Maverick, we're not seeing a Finker, for example. It's just very much reliant on the Roma hunting game coming out of the DKB. That's kind of their crowd control, and the rest just comes down to, outside of the Iana, what feels like a very old school lineup. The Ash and the Zofia, when was the last time you saw those 2 on the same team together, Tim?
That's it. It's not something that we've seen for quite a long time, but we have seen a decent presence for Ash today. Now that you mention it, Des, just seeing her brought along a little bit more. Of course, there is use to Ash outside of soft breach. It's utility burn. It's absolute simplest form. You can fire them in there, but we are seeing more castle play, so it makes more sense to see more Ash play potentially to deal with those barricades, to deal with other bits of utility, and it's working great for DWG KIA right now as they manage to take themselves an opening kill as well. It's going to be Candy taken down, and that's going to be our opener in round 4.
And now No Time's in real danger here of getting pinched out. We're sat inside a T, and Rin's come around on the backside here looking to push at the door, but have they droned? Do they even know? Might just walk headfirst into this one, goes for the spray, and Rin wasn't able to adapt in time. Thought they were still pushed down towards the south side of Mez, but had pushed all the way back up. Woogie steps in and finds the trade. Katsang another onto Salty elsewhere. A 4 versus 2, and we've still got so much time on the clock, Tim.
I think Reject are going to learn something important today, Des. And for me at the minute, that is mobility. If you saw Woogie Man push in there, so you lose Rin inside of T-Room, and then Woogie Man pushes in and he takes that 1v1 fight and he wins it. But it's very simple how he wins it. As he's going in, he hits his crouch, he stands back up, he keeps his movement unpredictable. Whilst the player he's going up against on the side of Reject, what did he do? He stood there still, he's aimed, and he's kept himself at a level, and it gives Woogieman every opportunity to win that fight. And for me, Reject just need to get a little bit looser, a little bit more mobile in those gunfights, make themselves and their movement patterns particularly a little bit less predictable. And I'm sure that we will see that as the stage goes on. Right now, DWG KIA 4-0, and they are starting to run away with things.
I love kind of what they've gone for here is where they want to clear the map. They're going for bringing the DKB. I've already spoke about it a couple of times. It's the deal with the would-be aggressive game coming out of Reject. You can watch their games in the Japanese league and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. They like to play that classic Japanese style. When it's much more concentrated and they don't need loads of map control, which you don't on Karaoke and T, because DWG KIA are focused entirely on the north side push coming in from the Shrine balcony. That's when they bring along the Ossa instead. They put that down the top of the hallway, they get themselves set up there as a base, and they start moving things forward. Last time round, Candy did get a swing and bring down Woogieman for free. DWG KIA should course correct here. They will not let that happen again. They'll be in a much better spot to get that Ossa shield down and start thinking about their execute. And even when that went wrong, Tim, they still won the round.
DWG KIA then stepped themselves into round number 5. I asked for better attacks. DWG KIA have delivered better attacks. That much is for sure than we saw out of Sandbox and Fnatic. And love to see it. There's a bit of pressure on that window. Yas taking a lot of damage there to a shotgun blast, I think it was, on that occasion by the looks of that damage. Could be wrong, but I think it was Candy.
That to me just screams how important these claymores are. That's twice now they've put down the double. You know, once
they just don't want that jump out.
Once is a mistake, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is deliberate. I'll go as far as saying this is definitely deliberate. It's more so if someone blows up the first one, jumps out and impact nades it or something, for example. There is another one then waiting for them to catch them straight after.
From that jump out position, if you look to your right, for those who maybe don't know the map too much, you can see this balcony. You can't see this far down it, but where the single window is, you can peek onto there, and that's going to be a big part of this here. Now, interestingly, I was going to pick up on this defense, Des. We were speaking about that balcony and how much of a nightmare it can be for attackers. We are yet to see an attacking team really consistently deal with that balcony, getting the breach open and being able to push in from there. It's just so easy to peek out of that door, to play a clash, to play a bulletproof, to play any sort of utility that can be very difficult to clear down there. They've just dropped the diffuser, they've dropped a man. Well played, good start from Reject.
What's mad is Reject have got 3 players out towards Exhibition and Office. A really heavy roam game. I said at the start of this round, what we've seen coming... Oh, here we go. Straight pushing from Katsang. No way. You've got to win this. You've got to win this. Oh, he does get the kill.
I mean, he wins it.
Nicky. He does, but he gets traded. It's kind of not the point. You win your ones, but you lose your ones. Whatever. Either way, Woogie's in. Finds himself 2, making a 3rd with Rin on the backside as well. They have finally shut down the roam, but I was going to say, you've got the Ossa on side. I thought they'd go direct to site, but here they changed things up. They went for a full roam clear without the DKB, and I thought they'd pay for it, but they found a couple of big kills, and now they're in this 1 versus 3. Salty, he's got a lot of work to do.
DWG KIA just proving that they've got plan A, B and C on lockdown. They've got options, they can do different things, and they can still get a great result. The problem that Salty's got now is that attacker utility is starting to get installed. We've got the Ossa shield there ready to assist. He's going to get himself, I thought he might just get himself a little bit free one onto the Ash, but it's not going to be the case for him. Half damage taken, that's going to be 1. Yas is on low health as well. There really is a possibility here of a potential 1 versus 3 for Salty. He manages to find the first. Is he going to get the second? He sees him. That's the diffuser down. Can he get the third? What a performance from Salty in round 5. 1v3. Breaks them up beautifully. And DWG KIA, you got some questions to ask there. You've let him challenge you 1 at a time. And then Salty's taken full advantage of it. And he's just ripped them apart.
They were hardly time poor as well, because Woogieman on the Ossa saw him. He literally stared at him with that shield deployed and knew where he was. And they still let him come pushing out of the only doorway that he could have used to come and challenge you whilst you're getting set up. Fortunately, didn't find the Ash, but then to swing back round and collect the Ossa as well. Again, all you've got to do is just hold down those 2 doors, wait for Yas to get the diffuser and join you, and then you play for trades. So it feels like DWG KIA, they're not quite respecting the key bottlenecks they had to play behind, and fair enough, Salty plays it beautifully. A big 3K to give Reject their first round in APAC North.
Yeah, DWG KIA have thrown that away, to be
massively
fair. There's no 2 ways about it, but Salty plays it perfectly. You know, I was talking about mobility earlier, and he keeps himself mobile, gets his first kill, moves, repositions, gets his second, repositions, always just trying to keep some sort of advantage for himself, and it was very well played. So Reject managed to get their first round on the board. Is it going to be a catalyst, Des? Is it going to be a spark? Is it going to find them the second, the third, the fourth? Can they fight their way back into this? There's going to be a lot of work ahead of them. That much is for sure. DWG KIA have been playing very well so far, but I like to see that Reject are keeping that aggression up.
Oh, mate, they're constantly out in the map. They're loving life out on their own. That seems to be their second name at this point, is getting that commonplace. What I'm excited about here is we're going back down into barbecue. We saw it earlier on. We saw Kota get away with a really cheeky plan by pushing in through delivery, off to the left through pantry, and then a plant inside a kitchen. Here, you will see Reject be far more composed and ready for it. They have still got 3 roamers out towards the north. You've got Taka, you've got Salty, and I believe it's Candy playing off towards Exhibition and Office, so only a couple hanging down towards site. And in fact, I think another one has even just joined them on the upstairs, so really committing hard to the roam game. The question is, did DWG KIA identify that and just say, let's go for it? Because once again, that roam clearer in the DKB is back on side.
And on the flip side of that, they've got no real vertical destruction there, Des. They've no sledge, so where's the value in taking that top floor? The value is purely in getting the kills at that point, getting people off the board.
And also the breaching rounds on the Ash, I guess, will help you towards that level.
But
ultimately, she's what you're relying on there for your only vertical destruction, along with, of course, the 2 breaching rounds in a back pocket. You lose the Ash, which you may well do, because Rin is playing entry for you in a good number of these rounds. It's going to sting.
Exactly that. So we might just see in the late round, second half or so, a switch from DWG KIA, a rotation towards a more lateral push onto site. But they at least need to make a token effort here at getting rid of a couple of these top floor defenders, because I wouldn't expect to see them get away with a plant again whilst there are players on the top floor. Katsang, he's going to start things off. That's Take. He was playing up on the top floor, so that is going to be starting this roam clearance getting underway. Katsang just missing his man there as the 2 just trade positions holding that corridor. Salty just going to keep that angle locked down. I think he probably caught a glimpse of Katsang there, so knows that there's a man out in drum. 5 versus 4, DWG KIA with an advantage, but time's still ticking away.
It's really interesting how they're sort of secured in towards like Geisha, T, Karaoke and so on with the Claymore they've set up, when really that's the kind of part of the map they want control of, because that's your vertical angles that you want to be able to contest. But here we go, a couple more members of Reject out towards Exhibition Office side. Here comes the 1 challenge coming up, and Candy is going to win it out again, the newest addition to this team, finding himself his second kill in the game, this time onto Rin. A 4 versus 3 and 30 seconds to play.
Katsang is going to find Candy. There's going to be no more sweetness for him inside of this round. 2 versus 4, and it seems to be slipping away from Reject once again. But with 15 seconds left to go, no time, might be able to create a situation where it's not only his name, Des, there might not be any time left for DWG KIA to close this out. He manages to pop around. It's Tsudaniki who manages to get the first. No time the second. 2 versus 1, not in a position to put the diffuser down. Can he survive? Yes! Reject somehow hold on. No time, holding on to every second of time that was left and denying DWG KIA round 6, and that's 2 in a row for Reject, and they might just have found their position in this game, Des. They might have just found themselves something to build on.
That kill onto Koti when he was carrying the diffuser through pantry was huge. That was what they were looking for, to completely take all the, I suppose, the acceleration, the pace coming out of that attack coming in from DWG KIA, and they were left scrapping in the final few seconds to try and find this last man. You try and plant in a 2 versus 1, it becomes a temporary 1 versus 1, in which case you don't know where the defender is. Chances are it's going to come back to bite you. But we touched on it. They didn't try and take control of the upstairs. They just said, forget about it. We'll just lock it off so you guys can't come push us down main stairs, for example, and that will be enough. But ultimately, it wasn't enough, as we've now seen. 2 good rounds for Reject on the board. However, they were very scrappy. One was a 1v3. One came down to you being in a 1 versus 2 and winning by way of the clock. So I still feel DWG KIA are in control, but we'll see what Reject bring to the board. Apparently, every single attacker being 6-picked out is the one. Or repicked.
There's a little bit of me that thinks Reject might start to struggle here with DWG KIA on the defence. As I've said, I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but attackers have had the little bit of a struggle sometimes on the new map to get themselves established. But we will see if Reject are able to do that. If nothing else, they've got themselves a little bit of momentum. Interestingly, I'm looking down that lineup. Lion, Glaz, Gridlock, Ying. It's a little bit unusual, Des.
6 smokes, Tim. That's the weirdest one for me. In a meta where what you often see is just grenade,
6 smokes
grenade,
and Glaz.
grenade. there are no frags on side. There is no hard breach, as Jack gestured across the room to me. The only thing I'll give towards that would be, in the last time round, we didn't really see DWG KIA opening up too much on this site. Their focus looked far more in towards pushing in through doorways, for example, pushing in through the balcony. So maybe it's Reject saying, you know what, forget about playing hard breach. We're just going to steamroll our way in. And they're playing on the window. We've seen this so many times, Tim. It's like playing ranked. And here they come on the push through. Smokes are out. A little bit of a blitz down here towards the hallway. The plant's coming in as well. They've pulled off ranked 101 on Skyscraper, Tim. And they've got the diffuser down.
Can they hold on to it? That is the next question. Salty, he's going to take the planter down as soon as it is confirmed. Obviously not purposeful, but it leaves them now 4 versus 5. However, DWG KIA, a lot of work to do here. There's the potential for them to be able to hold cover and go for the disable on the diffuser. They managed to find another onto Take. 5 versus 3 now. Damage is raining in. No time is down. 2v5. DWG KIA, you've got to make your move. You've got to try and get onto that case. But whilst the glass is upside down and above, it's going to be very difficult. There's 2 kills from Salty. There's 3. Unreal play from him once again. Candy finds the last, and Reject somehow bring us back within 1. It's 3-4 now.
I can't believe they've just pulled that off. We all looked at it and went, okay, there are no frags on side. There's no hard breach on side. This has got to be some wacky stuff coming.
That was just a bit of classic Yinglas smoke meta.
That is just, and even the line on side as well, like, oh, all together, like I say, ranked 101. Unbelievable.
You get away with it once. You get away with it once. I wouldn't expect.
You might get away with it twice.
I wouldn't expect it to work again. I would think DWG KIA are a team of the caliber that should be able to adapt and make sure that that is not the case. I love this play from Salty though. Simple as that. Glass on the window, upside down repel, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Everything that his team needs. Even cancels the reload to go in on the last one. Perfectly played on the post plant.
All right, now the question is, do we go back to a much more standard lineup, or do Reject have something else wacky lined up for us? And by the looks of it, nothing too wacky in mind. It's looking pretty standard. In fact, we are going back over to what we expected to see, which is 6 frag grenades on side. A quick note, by the way, Tim, they've already lost 3 of their normal drones here straight out the gate. And with no Twitch on side, that is 3 drones gone. Okay, never mind. Maybe it's a visual bug. Jebaited.
Never mind, Ez, never mind.
They lost 1. It was just a visual.
9 drones still on side.
R6, if I put that on R6 fix, do you reckon I'll get some packs?
I reckon you could do. Reminder to everybody, if you found any bugs, of course, get on there. Get them registered on R6 Fix. You can get some nice little rewards for them now if they get picked up and fixed and you're the first one to report them and things like that. Definitely worth a look. But at the minute, Reject 3-4 on the scoreboard. They've got themselves a few rounds in a row, starting to build a little bit of confidence into the game, maybe. Like I said, just feeling a little bit more like they can come in and challenge DWG KIA here. But this is going to be the big test for me, Des. Last time around, yep, they've had a little bit of a pocket strap. They've gone in with the smokes, the candelas, the glass. They've got the diffuser down. This time they're playing a more standard lineup. Can you beat the DWG KIA defense when you're playing quote-unquote normal siege?
Woogie almost caught that exothermic. Yeah, I mean, sure, look, Tadaniki's got a second one in back pocket, but almost caught it with an impact onto the wall. Does get opened up regardless. They did toss a nade in through a Maverick's hole just to make sure they could get rid of the jammer on the other side. And in the process, gave Woogie Man an angle to try and look for the deny. Coated playing on the vertical here. Knows that he's being challenged in from 2 different sides. This C4, oh, if he'd weaved that through, that was a double kill for waiting. Take will find 1 anyway with a nade kill coming in. Good start bringing down Coated, who, yes, did use that C4, but is now off the board permanently.
Could have been very different for Coated there, as you say, if he manages to thread the eye of the needle and for the nitro to go out. It's all different. But the balcony is being well controlled by Reject here. They've got the breach open. They've got access to site. They're not being challenged too heavily by DWG KIA. There's a real opportunity for them. Salty finds Rin. Katsang manages to get the trade. 3v4 now. But it's in favour of Reject once again.
Really good little pincer being set up by Reject, because Salty came in through Geisha there and was holding inside a Geisha box, just waiting for them to come retreating back down main stairs. Sure, gets 1 and is then traded out, so it's not the end of the world for DWG KIA, but that could have been their round, done and dusted there if he finds 2 kills. So good ideas coming out of Reject. Even if they aren't always winning the gunfights, to put those ideas into play, I like what I'm seeing at least. It's really putting the pressure on the defenders here, making DWG KIA think.
Tadaniki just trying to fire some utility inside a site, do a little bit more burning, potentially allow for access to be gained. But 30 seconds left to go. Reject need to find their way onto site. They're taking down all that utility, but they're not really gaining any ground with it. No Time, however, manages to go in. That's what they needed. Some aggression there. Katsang Yas, however, stand up tall, Des. They manage to take the balls and they roll with them. And they come out on top. 2 versus 1 now. And that's Yas on the spin. Finishes the man. And that's going to be DWG KIA taking the round. And that puts them now 5-3. And that might just be that crack that they need. That might just be that little boost of momentum for DWG KIA to move on now and take the full 3 points here.
Wasn't quite the full 180 I thought that was from Yas for a split second, but still good awareness, turning around and finding the thermite on the aggression. So, stops it going to 4-4 like you say, Tim. Stops this being all tied up, because anyone tuning in, knowing these two teams would have been like, there's no way this goes 4-4. There's no way overtime is ever even a threat between these two teams, but it's slowly starting to feel that way. Now, we are back once again into karaoke. Tim, fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Can't even get the saying right. But you know the point I was going for. If they do get away with something that crazy a second time round,
no way.
I mean, I'm seeing a yink.
No, I'm not having it.
I'm seeing a yink.
No. I'm not having it.
You don't have a choice, Tim.
There's no way they get away with this. I'm not saying they can't try it. I'm just saying they won't get away with it.
No, they actually are doing it. Oh, my word.
They don't get away with this twice.
Do they keep a hard breach on side? Because they've got 2 hard breaches here. They have nades at least. There's at least 1 nade to help them out on the back of that if they stick with this line that they're going for here. They could cancel it altogether. Okay, no, they're sticking. So it looks like they're going for a similar thing once again, but maybe acknowledging they don't need 6 smokes. That's a little bit excessive.
Just the 4 this time. But like you say, it's going to be a very similar attempt. The question is, how quickly do they do it, Des? Do they go straight in, and do they just try to rush? The fact that the Lion isn't there maybe suggests to me that they're not going to do it quite as quickly, that they go in for the same sort of setup and plant when the execute finally comes, but this time they're going to build that foundation first. Go in, try and get a kill or 2, and then look to push on to site.
Okay. I mean, you can't really bring the Ying and the Glaz and not be looking to play behind them. It doesn't strictly mean they'll play for the karaoke window. This is the same as last time, by the way. This is where we had the impacts coming out before. Yas is here, ready to greet once again, but I think trying to get the exact angle he's looking for has been the difficult one. Won't be able to get this one in time, so we'll just let the wall go off. It's opened up, and now can look to try and provide a bit of a challenge elsewhere. We are hearing those candelas go off, but no action.
That's it. There's no follow-up from it this time. It was very well coordinated last time around. If Salty holds his patience here, he might just find one on the long angle through to T-Room, but no, DWG KIA, he's going to dip away for the time being. Yas has moved himself underneath. He's not challenging Exhibition and off his side anymore. He's going to give up that ground, but they need to be aware of this reject, because, of course, they could easily move back up those Exhibition stairs and look to pressure onto the rear side to hit them on the flank. Right now, halfway through the round, Reject just taking a little pause. We often see this. You start your step 1, which is gaining access to the building and moving those roamers that you need to. Step 2, they're not quite moving into yet, Des. They still don't have full map control. They can't start setting themselves up for execute just yet.
So what makes me a bit nervous is we've lost about, the best part of the round here, almost 2/3, and all their focus has been out towards the east side for 3 members. They've got 1 set on Shrine. You've, of course, got Salty playing on the window, but he's sat over there saying, "Are you guys coming? Have you stood me up? Like, what's going on? You're taking so much time to work across the map here." So Salty isn't really any threat right now, as long as DWG KIA are sensible with things and Reject are down to this last 60 seconds now. They've really got to pick up the pace.
Courted is going to dip away, but it doesn't matter. He's still going to be found through the T-Room and downed. However, Rin comes to his rescue and shuts down Take. 4 versus 5 with the potential for a revive, but no, Candy manages to finish the man off. There's kills raining in left, right and centre. 3 versus 3. 30 seconds left to go and work to be done for Reject if they want to avoid the match point here. It just hasn't worked as well, Des. Ying is dead. There are no more candelas. How is this plant going to go down? What is the plan now? Yes, he has the plan, and he is the man as he gets the kill onto No Time, and that could not have come at a better time for DWG KIA. 2 versus 2 as Salty manages to find one, but with the diffuser needing to go down, this round is almost run. Katsang finds his. Tadaniki manages to try and get in and get the diffuser, but he just can't stick it. He looks for the kills. The time runs out, and DWG KIA get themselves onto map point.
Both teams got baited by the rotate being closed there on karaoke. First, it was the attackers who went to move towards it and like, oh, okay, got to go around the other way. And then you saw in that last second there as well, the defenders moving around to go through it and going, oh, got to go around the other way. And both had to work their way back in down through the hallway. But unfortunately, time was not on the side of the attackers. DWG KIA up to 6-3. They are at match point for this opening day. A scoreline I think many would have expected to see coming into their first opening game of the season, but maybe quite not in the fashion that we've seen it take place, Tim.
No, absolutely not. I think, Reject have certainly had some good moments. Is there things that they need to learn? Absolutely. It's, I say it countless times. You get a new team in, Des, welcome to big school. And you don't get a better welcome than against DWG KIA at the minute. They are playing very, very well today. And Reject, I'm sure, are going to take a lot away from this, however it ends. But, mark my words, they're not out of it just yet.
Tim, whenever I see a castle, I've told you this before, but I'll tell you again for posture. Whenever I see a castle, I get quite excited because it means there's going to be some kind of spicy setup on the go, and it's being wonderfully demonstrated by Easy. We have these two east-facing doors currently castle barricaded off. Two more still in back pocket, one I believe which is going on to the downstairs. It did just get rolled out somewhere. So with the way they're getting this set up, it's less about the vertical hold. They have still got some players up on the top floor, but they're also looking for a lateral lockdown as well.
Exactly that. They're looking at what success did they have, and that was in moving courted in and just easily getting that diffuser down. So they're not wanting to suffer any of that themselves. And as you say, those vertical angles just being opened by Katsang there, going to be interesting down into pantry, going to make things very difficult potentially if Reject do try to move in through there.
What's really nice about it is they won't be aware this has yet been set up because they can't, of course, see through the castle barricade. When they smash it down and look to push through, that is when the castle will come into effect to start doing some damage. So Rejects here have got a challenge. Do they deal with Katsang, or do they just, completely forget about the fact that he's up there and don't think he's got these vertical holes opened up? He could be massive the further this round goes on, and not that being 13-3 already isn't absolutely huge. The man's putting up numbers in this game.
Yeah, he really is. Just see the Maverick there being a little bit cautious. I think no time concerned about the potential jump out from Terrace. It's not going to come for the time being, but it is an age-old jump out on Skyscraper to go out of that window and catch somebody trying to take down that geisha wall. Katsang, he's going to want to stay in this position for as long as possible because, as you say, he's a big part of that, although vertically, that lateral hold and preventing them moving in through pantry rather than allowing them that freedom. The castle barricade is still in place. It's going to slow Taki down for the time being before he can move in through there. And I like what I'm seeing from DWG KIA, Des. They're mobile on the top floor. They know there's opportunities for them to challenge onto the downstairs, and they're ready to do that.
If any round will get analysed by the analysts after this, not the ones on the desk, but like Twitter, Reddit, you name it, this is the round, because this is a really interesting setup coming out of the side of DWG KIA. They're wasting quite a bit of time here, yet ready to come under any major threat. Yes, Rin and Woogie have gone quite low, but only through trying to take challenges themselves, and Reject have lost 2 minutes off the clock here. Salty's looking to make his path forward here. Does he get the long angle? No. Misses by a matter of pixels as well. Half a second earlier, he'd have seen the man and got a kill through the soft wall, but here he comes in pushing on the top side now. They've got the cross angle. Narrowly avoids that one as well. There comes the swing, and he's been now catching Rin completely off guard. They've got the vertical. Can he find the next? It's all falling apart from here, Tim. But a bit of a save coming in from Katsang on the other side. Plant is now starting to go down. The vertical not coming into effect because Take was ready, and Yas is left in a 1 versus 4. Plant goes down and Reject in a commanding position.
It was a good attempt at the vertical hold from DWG KIA. As we said, mobile, moving around, keeping themselves unpredictable, but ultimately it just shows how difficult I think this site is going to be to hold on to, as Reject were able to pick them apart summarily, realistically. Managed to...
Oh, no!
How is it not? Yes! He must have caught the shoulder. Yes! Oh, I don't think it's going to be the difference in a 1 versus 4 with 20 seconds left to go, but I'm sure he'll still be kicking himself. There's not going to really be an opportunity to get anything going back in this round. He gets another back at him, surely. Oh. It just wasn't meant to be, yes.
And like I say, that's the round that most eyes will probably be on, and that's the round where you choose to whiff 2 post-plant kills. Unbelievable. Either way, I know people, again, you look at some setups and go, oh, it's a crap setup, it didn't work, clearly it failed, the attackers won. Sure, but I still think the fundamental ideas in that round were really, really good. I know I'll be looking back at it later on as well, and there are some good ideas to take from that round in general. We're going to go now over, though, towards Exhibition and Office, stepping away from the barbecue itself. Clearly not here for any afters by the looks of it, Tim. Instead, going to go and take a look at the fine setups upstairs.
Absolutely not. They've had their fill of candy from the side of Reject.
There are so many jokes that you can make about this team's names. It's ridiculous. You got candy.
And we will in the weeks to come.
Sweet and salty. We've got no time. You've already like really wring that one by the neck, haven't you?
I've had a few out of that one already. I've had some legs out of that one. Yep. Thought you were there'll be plenty more to come. My brain is burning with ideas.
The thing is, we've already gone through DWG KIA enough, right? Coated is goated. We've had the boogeyman, as you'd scream sometimes. You name it.
I've not done that today.
Not today. I'm just saying in general.
But Woogieman's been quiet today.
Yeah, but over the year, you've done that countless times.
Plenty of times. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more. Heading in now, are there going to be plenty more rounds for us to watch? That is the question. DWG KIA 6-4 at the moment. They've had one bite at the cherry. They weren't able to close it down. Can they take their opportunity here to get themselves a full 3 points on the board in APAC North, as everybody would have expected, and get themselves up towards the top of the league table at the beginning of Stage 1? They're going to be kicking themselves ultimately if they don't, Des, I think is the answer. If they go to overtime and they start dropping points, oh yes, he's going to take some damage from the karaoke window.
Some.
A lot.
Thank you.
They need to be careful. They need to be careful here, DWG KIA, because they don't want to be losing that first man.
No, I mean, that was just a soft spray through the wall as well. I don't know if it was informed by a drone just saying, okay, the man's running, spray now, spray now. But losing Yas that early would have been an absolute killer given what a game he's had as well. Started 9 kills himself. I know the accolade of best killer in this game goes to Katsang himself, but Yas hasn't exactly been quiet either.
Salty going to be moving in, drone just ahead of him, as you can see there. 2 drones, in fact, moving through to try and feed some information into him. Little yellow ping for a potential vertical nade, but it was off that one. Nobody anywhere near, not going to do any damage. No utility taken out, so it's going to be back to the drawing board for Reject as they try to continue this vertical pressure. There's nobody downstairs to actually really challenge them, but Woogieman, the Woogieman, manages to find himself an angle from the stairs there, takes down Take, and that leaves us now 5 versus 4. Yas is still low health, but is managing to keep himself alive and just alert in this round, able to continue to offer some sort of challenge. Now then, this utility still not being cleared from underneath. There's the balcony wall will not be opened yet.
Oh, this is awkward as well, because I think they were mainly looking towards No Time to be the one on the Maverick that would get rid of that, or to use nades to clear it from below, but he was too busy trying to nade a player above him. So everyone is now stood around waiting for him. They're going to lose about 30 seconds of this round just trying to get this wall opened up because the Maverick was completely out of position.
The exothermic charge seems to be clear now of the mute jammer, but just being held for the time being. Courted with an interesting angle there. Just got himself up a vault on the bar, and there we go. The exothermic charge is open 15 seconds later, and in goes Candy straight away. Look at this. Goes absolutely steaming into sight. Can he find himself one? It's going to be No Time who manages to finish the kill. 4 versus 4. Diffuser going down now as Tadaniki manages to get inside of sight and is secure, but no, shut down by Courted. And that's going to leave us now 4 versus 3, 3 versus 2 as kills rain in. 30 seconds left to go, and it's absolute chaos inside of sight. No Time. He goes big and leaves them now in a 2v1. It's all up to Katsang.
But he is on about a slither of HP. Both players on the side of Reject have got 1 bullet between them of life. Katsang also brought down the same 15 kills in the game, and this is the best time to get your next 2. Going for the long flank here, out towards Dragon, working his way through Exhibition. Do they have the long angle ready for him? They should do at this point. Surely they see the head. He finds one. Can he clutch onto the next behind the bomb? Surely they know that he's hanging around inside of the site. He's coming on the crouch walk in. They see the head, surely. Knows where the man is. Does he know that he's swinging? Yes, he does, but can't quite find him. It's going to be a push! And Katsang, if anyone's going to do it, it was going to be him. 17 kills. DWG KIA going to win the match 7-4.
Katsang, what a beauty of a clutch at the end to close things out there. One of those that you really feel the tension watching it, Des. You could see the man bouncing left, right. Which way is he going to go? How are they going to meet? And ultimately, it was Katsang who came out on top. What a finish for DWG KIA, but what an introduction for Reject, I think it's fair to say.
A few scrappy rounds in there in which they won, but not an overall bad performance.